Hello and welcome to CMS Forex News. I'm CMS Market Analyst Nick Nassad. Today is Tuesday, September 16, 2008. The Reserve Bank of Australia released its meeting minutes last night, confirming its dovish stance. The 25 basis point rate cut was a conservative one, and the bank will likely keep slashing rates in light of slowing demand in the economy and the increased pressure the global financial system is facing in light of the recent headlines involving Lehman Brothers and AIG. The market is pricing in another rate cut by the RBA. The minutes provided another confirmation that the bank is more concerned about the slowdown in growth. The Aussie-Yen pair dropped almost 300 pips overnight until hitting 81.40, where it started to reverse its losses. Much of this fall was a continuation of risk aversion in the Forex markets stemming from yesterday. By 3:30 p.m. Eastern, the pair was back to trading near 84.50. In the European session, the final version of German CPI for August stuck to the estimate of negative 0.3%. On the year, inflation eased to 3.1%. The major culprit was a strong fall in energy prices as oil tumbled during the month. In the Eurozone as a whole, CPI in the month was revised slightly up to negative 0.1% from negative 0.2% in the preliminary release. These numbers suggest that inflation may have peaked and alleviates some of the pressure on the ECB to hike rates in order to combat inflation. For September, the German and Eurozone ZEW economic sentiment indexes, which measure attitudes of financial professionals in those areas, improved to negative 41.1 and negative 40.9 respectively. That was close to a 15-point improvement in both indexes and surprised forecasts on the upside. Still, the levels remain weak, though the Eurozone at this point can use all the good news it can get. Consumer inflation in the UK, unlike in other developed nations, did not ease during the month of August. Instead, the monthly CPI rose 0.6%, slightly above the forecast, and on the year inflation jumped to 4.7%. That's the highest annual rate in 11 years. The euro-pound traded within its recent range as the euro rallied overnight against the pound, bringing the pair from support to resistance. The price move came despite signs that inflation has peaked in the Eurozone but is persistent in the UK. After hitting the resistance at the New York Open, the pair started declining and reversed all 60 pips of its overnight rally. The US also came out with consumer inflation data. CPI declined 0.1% on the month in August and is now running at an annual pace of 5.4%. Both results came in below expectations, which eases the pressure on Fed officials to guard against higher prices. Excluding food and energy, inflation was up 0.2% on the month. The Federal Reserve held rates steady at 2%, trying to inject some calm amid the financial storm that is raging this week. The statement cautioned about risks to both growth and inflation, and it also ignored calls to lower the rate as a result of the recent bout of financial turmoil. U.S. stocks today posted modest gains in afternoon trading, even as worries spread about the financial stability of insurance giant AIG. Hopes were lifted by reports that the Federal Reserve would intervene to prevent a possible collapse, which overshadowed the FOMC meeting later in the day. The dollar-yen pair hit a low near 103.50 following the New York Open, but managed to recover as stocks turned positive. Oil prices fell again today, declining $3.50 to trade near $92 a barrel. The US-Canadian dollar pair has been pivot trading this session. After trading between the 1.0670, 1.0710 range for most of last evening and night, the pair rallied to the next range between 1.0710 and 1.0750. After the FOMC announcement, it dropped back into its lower range. Tonight, Australia will release its WMI leading index, while the Bank of Japan decides on interest rates. Overnight, the UK releases its claimant count and Bank of England meeting minutes along with its CBI industrial trends orders. Switzerland, meanwhile, posts its ZEW measure of expectations. Continuing overnight, the Eurozone releases its trade balance. Tomorrow morning, the U.S. reveals housing data along with its current account, while Canada releases a measure of foreign flows. And that's it for today's broadcast. Thank you for joining us, and catch us here tomorrow at cmsfx.com.